gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Face in your face.
What the hell is going on down there?
Face in your face.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or are watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense because here we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions, but not everyone uses logic. So for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Also, the subscriber mode has been enabled for the first 5 minutes, meaning that if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you will need to subscribe to the channel. I also have another channel known as Latina Diaspora, where I discuss issues pertaining to Latinos, particularly Latinos living in the United States. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel. Whether you've been a supporter from the beginning or just recently joined, I really appreciate your support. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who allow me to enter into your devices and all those who watch from the clouds, especially the haters. So what I'm going to ask you to do, if you have not done so already, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and set the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. So the topic for tonight is, who is Tim Walz? Okay. Unless you've been living under a rock or you're suffering from amnesia, he is Kamala Harris's running mate. He is running to become Vice President of the United States. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn a little bit about him. Now, before we get into the main topic, we're going to have another episode of In My Words. First of all, I just want to give a shout out, or be a little bit related, to all our fellow Dominicans. Yesterday was the Dominican Day Parade, which I attended for the first time. So, and of course, it was, of course, gratifying to see the amount of Dominican pride. Okay, of course, the parade is not as long as the Puerto Rican Day Parade. However, it was full of music, excitement, floats, and things of that nature. So I had a good time. I will definitely try to make it an annual thing, as well as the Puerto Rican Day Parade. Now, there's been a great deal of talk regarding the rallies, comparing the rallies of Kamala Harris to that of Donald Trump. Okay. Also, what's been an issue is that Donald Trump seems to have an issue regarding the number of people attending his rallies compared to the number of people attending Kamala Harris's rallies. So much to the point that he's gone into delusion, talking about how his crowds are bigger and how it's all delusion thanks to AI. Okay, anyone who actually seen both rallies can tell that first of all there's a big difference. With Trump rallies, there's like a huge section of empty seats. People seem to be bored, and of course Donald Trump's talking about Donald Trump. However, when you take a look at Kamala Harris's rallies, there's not an empty seat in the House. People are actually excited, and of course she's talking about what she wants to do for the country. And of course, one of her rallies, she highlighted the fact that the U.S. men's basketball team won their gold medal, as long as I think it was the women's soccer team. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a video just to give you a comparison. Just give me a moment. And of course, fair use. This is just basically an opportunity to give my commentary regarding the video in question. The video will show. Any day now. Oh, okay, let's go. Again, fair use.
Tim Walz absolutely chumped Trump on the obsession with the size of Trump's crowd. We're increasingly realizing that Donald Trump is not well endowed when it comes to the size of his political crowds. And it seems as though the Harris-Walz campaign is bringing out near-record crowds almost anywhere they go. Tim Walz hilariously in Glendale, Arizona, hitting Trump on this, and he does it so well.
Seen a few people showed up in Philadelphia the other night. And then 10,000 plus walked into a field in western Wisconsin. And then on Wednesday, the largest crowd of the campaign showed up in Detroit, Michigan. But Arizona just couldn't leave it alone, could you? Wow. You know, it's not as if anybody cares about crowd sizes or anything.
Really a masterclass in political mass communication. He is really, really good at this, hitting the repetition with this mind your own business stuff. And this continues to get really good reactions from the crowd.
Look, you and I, especially the gray hairs in the crowd, we know our relatives. Republicans used to be the people talking about freedom. Not this group. When they talk about freedom, it means that the government should be free to invade your exam room with your doctor. Look, in Minnesota, we respect our neighbors and the personal choices they make. We maybe wouldn't make the same choices, but we respect them. And I know in Minnesota and in Arizona and places across this country, you know what makes society work best? Is when you learn a golden rule. Mind your own damn business. Mind your own damn business. We don't need it.
This messaging is working well because it's
you have to admit, they really know how to zing it to Donald Trump. Okay, and so far, Kamala Harris has not made many mistakes. I mean, she's been whatever you might feel about her, she has been running a successful campaign. And now we will continue for years.
Taking back the talking point of we the Republicans are the party of freedom. And then just one more nice little clip here. Here's Kamala Harris at the very same Arizona rally.
So Arizona, I ask, are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win. God bless you and God bless the United States of America.
So that's the vibe and the atmosphere at the Harris Walz rallies. I think you get it. After the break, we're going to get rejiggered here. After the
that kind of gives you like a little bit of a flavor, how things go, and a Harris rally. Okay. Now, if you go to a Trump rally, what you're going to see is you're going to see a huge bunch of empty seats. You're going to see Donald Trump and his old retired hits like, oh, I was stolen in election 2020. Oh, the Kamala Harris is a DEI candidate, and so on and so forth. And talking about him, and him. So, and of course, it's very early in the campaign. It's about 85 days until the election. So anything can happen. Nevertheless, I do believe this is going to be a very close election, okay? But I believe history will be made that we will elect the first lady president. Now, I know that because of the fact that many people don't think that the country is ever be ready for a woman president due to, how some people feel. I do think the time has come, okay? The time has come. But then again, I have been wrong before, so it is what it is. And of course, the circus continues with when an individual with his rhetoric regarding several people on these YouTube streets. And I'm going to say this. The best form of revenge is you being the best version of yourself and not to engage with those individuals. And whenever anyone posts your content without your consent or use your content to attack you, harass you, bully you, report it. Okay? And that's the best form of revenge. Now, with that being said, we're going to get into the main topic. So, as I indicated, the main topic tonight is who is Tim Walz. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to try to learn a little bit about him tonight. Now, before I continue, let me just state for the record that the link to join the panel has been pinned. Should anyone do feel inclined to join the panel, they can hit that link and opine regarding the topic, okay? They can say, you know, he's a great man, he's a lousy man, he's a whatever man, what have you. Good evening, Irby. Thank you very much for stopping by. Now, again, let me just state for the record. If I never heard from you or seen you before, I will insist that you come up on the backstage to make sure that no one flash anything inappropriate as far as X-rated material, which would cause the good people of YouTube to take down the stream. So again, what we're going to do is talk about who is Tim Walz, okay? And as I also indicated, he is the Democratic candidate for vice president. And of course, whenever you have someone new that you really haven't heard before, you have a lot of questions to be raised. First of all, let's start with the following information. He is a fellow baby boomer. Okay. In fact, he was born on April the 6th, 1964. And he does have a reputation of being a progressive when it comes to politics. Okay. Right now, he is the current governor of the state of Minnesota. And he's been serving in that position since 2019. Now, prior to that, he also served as a congressman from the 1st District of Minnesota from 2007 to 2019. Okay. Now, one of the first things that I came across when I came across this individual, of course, he tends to be a progressive when it comes to certain issues. First of all, as far as rights, as far as the LGBTQ community, as far as also reproductive rights for women, but he's also known to be an individual who is able to reach consensus. Yes, he is. I would have to say he is a liberal. Okay. Now, he's also served as a teacher, and he also served as a non-commissioned officer in our military. So let me just. Now, as far as his he is married, and he has 2 children, which which I believe either they are adults or near adult age. Now, as far as his education is concerned, he received his bachelor's degree in social sciences from Chatron State College. And he also received his master's degree at Minnesota State University. It actually is an MS degree. Now he has been a high school teacher at, now if I mispronounce any of these names, please excuse me. McCullough West High School. Okay. He also served in the military, okay, as a non-commissioned officer. He served in the Nebraska Army National Guard and the Minnesota Army National Guard, of which he achieved a rank of Command Sergeant Major. Now, I am not that familiar when it comes to the non-commissioned officer ranks. However, that's considered to be a high rank in the military. And of course, he's also been decorated, okay, with several medals, which is the Army Achievement Medal, the Army Commendation Medal, the Global War on Terrorist Service Medal, along with the Good Conduct Medal. So I do not know a lot about these medals, but it does seem like he's had a successful military career. Now, during his time in the Army National Guard, he worked in agriculture, manufacture, and then after teaching high school. Okay. Of course, in August 6th of this year, which is today is the 12th, which was a week ago, Kamala Harris picked him to be her running mate. So let's see if we can dig up a couple of things. Now, after high school, he worked in agriculture, manufacturing, and of course, he started serving the National Guard. After graduating from Chatron State College, he accepted a teaching position for a year at World Teach in China. After returning, Walz took a job teaching and coaching at Alliance, Nebraska, where he met his spouse, Granny Rippey, a fellow teacher. They were married in 1994, and then he moved 2 years later to McCullough in Minnesota, which is his wife's home state, where he worked as a geography teacher and coach at McCullough West High School. He also coached the high school football team, where in 1999 he led them to a state championship. In 1999, Walz agreed to be a teacher advisor for the first Gay-Straight Alliance at McCullough West High School. Walz and his spouse also ran the Educational Transition Adventures, which organized summer educational trips for high school students in China. Interesting. Okay. Now, another thing that I did not know about Tim Walz is that he served in the National Guard for 24 years. Okay. And he began his service, military service, in 1981. Now, During his military career, he held positions in Arkansas, Texas, the Arctic Circle, New Ulm, Minnesota, and other places. He trained in military heavy artillery. Okay, he also worked in disaster response posts after floods and tornadoes and was deployed overseas on active duty for months, though he never saw combat. In 1989, he earned the title of Nebraska Citizen Soldier of the Year. After 9/11, he was sent to Europe for a year and a half to support Operation Enduring Freedom Afghanistan. His decorations include the Army Commendation Medal and 2 Achievement Medals. Walz achieved the rank of Command Sergeant Major near the end of his service, but he retired as a Sergeant Major in 2005 for charity because he did not complete coursework in the U.S. Sergeant Major Academy. Now let's discuss as far as the world of politics. Okay. Also, he also volunteered for John Kerry's presidential campaign in 2004 and was soon appointed coordinator for his county as well as district coordinator for Vets for Kerry. In 2005, Walz completed the two and a half day campaign and election course in Camp Wellstone, a program run by Wellstone Action, the non-profit organization Mark and David Wellstone created to continue the work of his parents Paul Wellstone and Sheila Wellstone. He subsequently ran for candidacy in Congress in 2006. Now, he also defeated his Republican candidate, Jill Kutnick, and began his year as Congress 2007. He's been described on political after the election, political described Kutnick as someone who has been taken by surprise, and Walz was someone who had decided never to get caught up that way. He presented himself as a model from day one, built an office focused on constituent service, and earned a niche as a tireless advocate for veterans. He ran for re-election in 2008 he was re-elected in 2008 with 62% of the vote, becoming the second non-Republican to win a second term for the district. He won a third term in 2010, defeated State Representative Randy Demmer with 50% of the vote, and was re-elected in 2012, 2014, and 2016. So, excuse me. So, let me just read a little bit more about his background. Even when he represented a district that typically voted Republican, Esprit describes Walz's political policies ranging from moderate to liberal. He voted against the law to ban federally funded abortion services and advanced the Affordable Care Act out of the House. He also continued funding military operations in Iraq and Afghanistan, and against the 2008 top bill, which produced troubled assets from financial institutions. He received a 100% rating from Planned Parenthood in 2012, the American Civil Liberties Union in 2011, the American Immigration Lawyers Association in 2009-2010, the AFL-CIO in 2010, and the International Brotherhood of Teamsters in 2009-2010, and the National Organization for Women in 2007. So as you can see, he does in time. He did took positions which are considered very progressive. Now in November 2018, he was elected governor of the state of Minnesota, defeating Republican candidate Jeff Johnson. During the campaign, two high-ranking Minnesota National Guard Commission officers falsely accused Walz of making up facts about his military service and lying up his military rank. The accusation about his military rank was denied. In 2022, Walz sought re-election. He won the August 9th Democrat primary and faced Republican candidate Scott Johnson in the November general election. On November 8, 2022, Walz defeated Johnson 52.3 to 44.6. Although Johnson fared better than Walz's opponent in 2018, he made gains against Walz in Greater Minnesota. He did not overcome Walz in the Minneapolis-St. Paul metro area. Now I'm going to talk a little bit regarding what he's done when he was governor of Minnesota. On May 26, 2020, the day after George Floyd's murder, Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan demanded justice and called the video of the Minnesota police officer Derek Chauvin kneeling on George Floyd's neck disturbing. Walz explained, "The lack of humanity in this disturbing video is disgusting. We will get the answers and seek justice." Walz's initial response to widespread protests following George Floyd's killing was criticized by the political opponents and other groups. He later responded to the assassination by ordering the Minnesota legislature to reconvene for special sessions on legislation for police reform and accountability. After the police reform failed to pass the first special session in June, a second special session was held in July. On July 21st, the legislature passed major police reform legislation. The new compromise law included a limited ban on police using suffocation hooks as long as officers were not in greater risk. He also banned the all-warrior training program, which was seen as dehumanizing people and encouraging aggressive behavior. Good evening, Gigi. Thank you very much for stopping by. And let me let everybody know that my friend Gigi has her channels. So I'm going to ask you if you've not done so, subscribe and check out her content. Okay. So tonight we're talking about who is Tim Walz. So what I'm just trying to do is I'm just trying to give you the facts regarding the person. Okay. Of course, people will support whoever they're going to support. But the thing is, what we need to do is talk about the facts and separate facts from fiction. Let me just see. So while we're gonna take a look at some of his positions, which why led many people to believe that he's extremely liberal. Walz advocated for the legalization of recreational cannabis as governor of Minnesota. As a candidate for governor in 2017, he said, "We have the opportunity in Minnesota to replace the current fair policy with one that generates tax revenue, creates jobs, creates opportunity for Minnesotans, protect Minnesotans, and trust adults to make personal decisions based on their own personal freedoms." In 2022, he proposed the creation of an Office of Cannabis Management to develop and implement the regulatory framework for adult use cannabis in Minnesota. On May 30th, 2023, he signed House File 100 into law, which legalized recreational cannabis in Minnesota, which went into effect on August 1st of this year. Now, during the 2008 economic crisis, Walz repeatedly spoke up against using taxpayer money to bail financial institutions. In late September, he voted against the $700 billion top bill, which brought troubled assets from these institutions. Walz issued a statement after the bill passing, saying, "The bill we voted on today passes the buck when it comes to recovering losses that taxpayers could suffer. Also regret the bill does not do enough to help the average homeowner, nor does it provide enough Wall Street oversight." For that same reason, in December 2008, he voted against a bill that offered $14 billion in government loans to meet the country's big automakers. In June 2009, Walz introduced a bipartisan resolution calling on the federal government to relinquish its temporary ownership interest in General Motors Company and Chrysler Group LLC as soon as possible, asserting that the government should not be involved in management decisions in those corporations. Now, when it comes to education, okay, he's been a public school teacher for 20 years. He opposed merit pay for teachers. Okay. In voting for the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, Walz highlighted its strong provisions to support public school buildings. He is on record to support for legislation to reduce tuition costs. In a speech on February 12, 2009, he said the most important thing to do is secure a solid foundation for economic future to provide the best education possible for children. Walz received strong endorsement for these policies from many interest groups, including the National Education Association, the American Association of University Women, and the National Association of Elementary School Principals. Yes, he did. Okay. While in Congress, Walz was a strong advocate for gun rights. He received endorsement from the NRA Political Victory Fund, several times receiving an A rating from the organization. Following the shooting of the Parkland Stoneman Douglas High School in 2018, he denounced the NRA in a Star Tribune op-ed and announced that he would donate the equivalent of all his campaign contributions to the NRA PVF Fund has given him to the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund. As governor, Walz expressed support for gun regulation. In 2023, he has signed into law a public safety bill establishing universal background checks and laws in Minnesota. Okay. Also, no surprise, he's been an advocate regarding LGBTQA rights, which includes federal laws against discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation. In a 2009 speech, he called for the end of Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. Walz voted in favor of the Matthew Shepard and James Beard Jr. Hate Crimes Prevention Act and the Sexual Orientation Employment Non-Discrimination Act of 2007. It received a 90% rating from the Human Rights Campaign, the nation's largest LGBT rights organization. In 2011, Walz received announced his support for the Respect for Marriage Act. As governor, he has signed a number of bills supporting LGBTQ community. In 2023, he signed a bill banning the practice of conversion therapy and another protecting gender-affirming care in Minnesota. So, he's been an advocate regarding the LGBTQ community. Now, in regards to the war between Israel and Hamas, Walz condemned the Hamas at October 7 attack on Israel and ordered flags to be lowered a half-staff in the following days. After Minnesota 2024 Democratic Convention presidential primary, in which 90% of voters cast unengaged votes, Walz took the sympathetic attitude toward those who did so to protect President Biden's handling of the war of Gaza, calling them simply engage. Yeah, that's something that's gonna need to be addressed. Okay. On the process regarding U.S. funding of war in Gaza, Walz said, "The issue is a humanitarian. This is issue is a humanitarian crisis. They have every right to be heard. These people are asking for a change of course. They're asking for more pressure. You can argue that there are conflicting things. That Israel has the right to defend itself, and the atrocity of October 7 unacceptable. But Palestinian children are caught up in this. This has had to end." Now, when it comes to veterans issues, as I stated, having served 24 years in the Army National Guard as a freshman in Congress, Walz received real membership on the third committee when he was assigned the House Committee on Veterans Affairs. Walz was advocated for better veteran benefits since taking office in 2007. In May of that year, the House unanimously passed the Traumatic Brain Injury Centers Act to establish 5 centers across the country to study traumatic brain injuries and develop improved models for care of veterans suffering from such injuries. Walz also supported the 2008 GI Bill, which expanded education benefits for veterans and, in some cases, allowed them to transfer education benefits for their family members. In 2009, Walz delivered the keynote address at the American Legion National Convention in Louisville. He spoke of the need of the VA and the Department of Defense to work together to ensure that men and women returning to service are not left unnoticed when they are transitioned into civilian life. Of course, he is an advocate regarding reproductive rights, and he also enjoys a 100% rating from Planned Parenthood. The National Committee for the Right gave him a rating of 0, obviously. In 2009, Walz voted in favor of the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act. Okay. So that kind of gives you somewhat of a flavor regarding who is Tim Walz is. Okay. Is he a progressive? Yeah, you will have to state that. Okay. Nevertheless, he does come across as someone that's very approachable. Okay. And he's also someone that's able to achieve a consensus with other politicians. So, and of course, if you ever saw the rallies, I mean, the fact of the matter is there's a lot more excitement regarding Kamala Harris and not as much excitement regarding Donald Trump. So that kind of gives you an idea regarding who is Tim Walz. Okay. Now, I've been talking for all this time. Of course, if anyone, and I repeat, if anyone wishes to hit the panel and discuss regarding Tim Walz, regarding your opinions about it. Do you think he's a great guy? Do you think he's a progressive? Do you think he's a radical? I mean, this is your opportunity to come share reviews. Okay. Again, let me just state for the record. Yeah. You know what, okay. You know what, he's gonna have, okay, a lot of the questions that you're raising, Irving, and other people have raised, he's gonna have to address that whenever they do have a debate with V.D. Vance, okay? So it should be very interesting, okay, regarding the stock comparisons between the two vice presidential candidates. So, and as I stated before, if I've never seen you before, and I've never heard from you before, I will insist that you come up in the backstage. Okay. Because again, I'm not going to allow anyone to flash their genitalia on the platform. Yeah. Yes, I have to agree. He does come to be very approachable, and that's something. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, excuse me. I'm going to share one more video, okay? I'm going to try not to keep it too long because I don't want this becoming a 5-hour. Just give me a moment. Okay. Look, unfortunately, Irby, we live in a time where we have immature individuals that have a need to come on and flash their genitalia. Why? I don't know. But I do know for a fact that YouTube does not like when people flash pornographic images, okay? And whatever you might feel about the guidelines, whether they enforce it or not, I mean, I'd rather not to take any unnecessary chances. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share one more video, okay? We'll talk a little bit, and then if no one else hop on the panel and no one else have any other comment, then I'll start to wrap this up. So I'm going to share, hopefully. Now this video is, of course, is regarding Kamala Harris and Tim Walz hitting the campaign trail. Okay, so again, fair use.
Vice President Harris and Governor Tim Walz completed their first swing through battleground states. As new poll numbers show them pulling ahead in some of those key states, drawing false attacks from Donald Trump about the crowd size at their rallies. Rachel Scott is tracking the race from Washington. Good morning, Rachel.
Hey, George, good morning to you. This is an entirely different campaign. 1 week out from the Democratic National Convention, and a new poll shows that Vice President Kamala Harris is gaining traction in those critical battleground states. All of that really not sitting well with former President Donald Trump, who has resorted to pushing conspiracy theories about the crowd size at her rallies and questioning her racial identity. This morning, Vice President Kamala Harris gaining momentum in the race for the White House.
Hey, Nevada!
Wrapping up her first major campaign blitz with her new running mate, Governor Tim Walz.
You are battle-born. And if Donald Trump wants to pick a fight over our most fundamental freedoms, we say, bring it on. Bring it on. Bring it on.
A New York Times Siena poll shows Harris has a 4-point edge on Donald Trump in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, within the margin of error. And enthusiasm for the Democratic ticket has skyrocketed since President Biden dropped out of the race. Walz addressing a crowd of 15,000 in Phoenix, making this dig at Trump.
But Arizona just couldn't leave it alone, could you? It's not as if anybody cares about crowd sizes or anything.
Trump has long boasted about the size of his rallies, just days ago claiming nobody has spoken to crowds bigger than me. And now the former president pushing conspiracy theories on social media that Harris used artificial intelligence or AI to create images of fake crowds, falsely claiming there was nobody there. David Plouffe, a senior advisor for the Harris campaign, writing, "These are not conspiratorial rantings from the deepest recesses of the internet," adding, "The author could have nuclear codes and be responsible for decisions that will affect us all for decades." Trump has been struggling to pivot to a new Democratic ticket, doing everything from questioning Harris's racial identity to mocking her intelligence and lashing out at new polling.
Kamala is grossly incompetent and, in my opinion, has a very low IQ.
He's now taking her on her pledge to make tips tax-free, something he has promised for months, calling it a Trump idea. The former president also putting immigration at the center of his campaign, vowing the largest deportation effort in American history. Our John Carl pressing his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, for specifics.
I think it's interesting that people focus on, well, how do you deport 18 million people? Let's start with 1 million. That's where Kamala Harris has failed, and then we can go from there.
And in another twist this weekend, the Trump campaign claimed that it had been hacked by Iran and pointed to a report from Microsoft that said that the Iranian hackers sent a phishing email to a top campaign official. Microsoft did not specify which campaign that was, and the Trump campaign has not provided any further details, George.
Yeah, we've seen foreign interference in our elections going back to 2016 at least. Rachel Scott, thanks very much.
AI. Yes, Irby, it's going to be very interesting. Now, how can I say this without being overly partisan? But when you have to resort to talking about bragging about how big your rallies are, when you have trouble filling in your auditoriums because people are getting sick and tired of the same old, and listening to Donald Trump talking about how he was cheated out of the 2020 election and making false accusations regarding Kamala Harris. I mean, the fact speaks for itself. Okay, the facts speak for itself. Okay, Donald Trump is running a piss poor campaign. He's also has unsuccessful in expanding his base. Okay. Which the result can be a Harris landslide in the future. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show one more video. Okay. And then I'm going to call it a night. But like I said before, I mean, all this has as I stated before, um, the fact of the matter is this: whatever you might view regarding Tim Walz, I mean, you got to admit he does come across as very approachable, and the excitement that's there, it's there. Okay, something that you do not see regarding Donald Trump's campaign. Okay, I mean, you see people. I mean, you actually see people dying of boredom. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is no, I'm not gonna show that.
I think that our country is right now.
Okay. You know what? I'm not gonna show it because. But look again, as I stated, okay. I think Kamala Harris was a genius in selecting Tim Walz to be her running mate. Now here's an interesting question. If he loses women vote, Trump is not going to win. Trying to insult Kamala's intelligence and her past is not going to work. Okay, first of all, he did the same thing we got with Hillary Clinton in 2016. Okay, so he's thinking that the same practice is going to achieve the same results. What he failed to take into consideration, first of all, Kamala Harris, whatever you might view her, she's no Hillary Clinton. Okay. While Hillary Clinton did not come across as someone approachable, Kamala Harris does. And among some of the things that they attack her with, like all of a sudden stating that she's black, that she hugs too much, that she has a weird laugh. I mean, I never thought in my almost 62 years would I heard someone complaining regarding a politician's laugh. What does that have to do with it? Okay. And again, whatever you might view of Kamala Harris, you have to admit that she does bring a certain amount of excitement to her supporters. And to be perfectly honest, I love her hashtag. Say it to my face. Okay? You gotta admit it. That was pure genius. And of course, that was in response to all the ish Donald Trump has been saying regarding Kamala Harris. That she's dumb, she doesn't know what she's talking about, that she allowed millions of undocumented people into the country. Okay. I'm going to give you, again, the two areas where I have disagreements regarding Kamala Harris. One of them has to do with reproductive rights. As I said it before, I am pro-life. I do believe that life begins at the moment of conception. Yeah, you know what? That's not going to happen, Irby. Okay, it's more of a likelihood that I'll grow hair than he'll stick to policy. But I disagree when it comes to reproductive rights. At the same time, I don't believe in a complete ban on abortion. I do believe that in cases of rape, incest, or when the mother's life is in danger, that as much as I personally often qualify, you do have to allow women that option to terminate the pregnancy. And the other area which I have huge disagreements is how he handled the migrant crisis. Again, what should have been done is he should have had a meeting with all the governors and he should have said, you know what, each state is going to take in a certain number of these migrants, asylum seekers, or whatever the fuck you want to call these people, okay, and no more. And then once that state reaches capacity, not try to ship another soul into those states. And have a serious talk with some of the other Latin American countries to see if they can help and take in some of these people. Okay. I'm sorry, but we cannot save the entire world. We cannot solve all the world's problems. We have an unlimited supply of problems here in this country. Okay. And here in New York, we had thousands of homeless people that needed our help before these migrants came. Okay? So those are the areas where I have huge disagreements. Okay? Nevertheless, I cannot, in good conscience, support a person that will destroy unions, that will take away the benefits that being a union employee receive, to be replaced by an army of yes men. Because if Donald Trump is able to do this on the federal level, he's definitely going to try it on the state and local level. I also have an issue with him weakening the system of checks and balances, eliminating the Department of Education, eliminating the Department of Homeland Security, and weakening the checks and balances. Okay, there is a reason why that exists. That is so no one branch of the government becomes too powerful. So what it does is it creates a system of accountability, of which the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch are all accountable to each other. Okay. And that's the reason why I cannot, in good conscience, vote for Donald Trump, even though I'm pro-life. And if nothing else, he is illustrating a textbook lesson on how not to run a campaign. Now, as far as what's going to be the topic for tomorrow night, I'm going to be talking about what is a simp. Okay. We have heard a lot of talk about men being simps and women being femcels. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually have a discussion as far as what is a simp, what are the characteristics of a simp, and how to avoid, if possible, avoid becoming a simp. Okay, so, and of course, everyone, and I repeat, everyone will have an opportunity to opine. And then on Thursday, I will have another session of open discussion, but on my other channel, which is Latina Diaspora, which I will discuss multiple topics where I will express an opinion, and of course the audience will have an opportunity to opine and express their point of view regarding the topics which we discuss. Also, the audience will have an opportunity to state what topics they want me to discuss, and I will do my best to comply. Please be mindful that there might be some topics where I don't have a great deal of knowledge, where I prefer not to speculate. So with that being said, being that no one else is going to hit the panel, and being no one else have any further comment, I will start to wrap this up. But as far, before I forget, let me just give you an update regarding my health. I am now down to 234 pounds, which means I have lost so far 50 pounds. Okay. Of course, I'm not done. I want to definitely get below 200 pounds and not only get to lose weight, but to maintain it, which is the secret, which has been an issue with everyone that deals with the battle of the bulge. Now, next week I will be discussing a topic which I already discussed before, but it does need to be discussed, which is self-deletion is not the solution. So what I'm going to be sharing with you, what some of the reasons why people choose to self-delete. Of course, I will share my personal story regarding that topic. I also will have resources available should anyone in the audience, or if you know anyone in the audience know someone who's having difficulty with thoughts of self-deletion, or where they can go and get help. Okay. And let me just state, there is no shame to admit that you need help. Okay. In fact, half the problem is not admitting that you have a problem. But once you do get to that point, half the battle is won. Now it's just a question of getting the right type of advice and the right type of assistance to help you to deal with your issue. So as always, I really appreciate all of you coming in here and sharing your point of view with it. And of course, all of you are more than welcome to opine and with comments after the stream is over. I do ask that please do try to keep it respectable, because if you fail to do so, the comments will be deleted. And with that being said, of course, I'm going to close the same way that I always close. We must do everything possible to avoid the presence of the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by their stupidity and massive insanity. And it seems like the circus is alive and unwell. Now, I just saw, we also Multi's last stream talking about going back and forth with Azagos United and forget who the other person, and their ish that they discuss. I would suggest that you check it out when you have a chance. I mean, they highlighted on my community tab. Well, it seemed very comical to see these two go at it with each other and call in every conceivable name by the child of God. Okay? And that's perfectly fine with me. Okay? If you want to go and talk your ish, your platform, you're more than welcome to do so. All I ask is, please do not bring your ish here. Okay. I don't censor people, but I will insist that there be mutual respect and mutual courtesy, or else you will be forced to bounce. It is that simple. So with that being said, I just want to wish you all a very wonderful good night. Take care. Be the best version of yourself, and peace.